Hello and welcome to the all-new Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group guide to the Marvel Comics of the week. As always, I am Phil&rsquo, and I am joined by...
Charlie&rsquo.
Probably one of the busiest men in media today.
Yeah, a little bit. Not as busy as you, Phil&rsquo.
But you're trying to be.
I'm trying, man. Gotta get your name out there.
Yeah.
Gotta try and get paid for this stuff, and you only get paid if you do a lot of it.
That's right. Well, don't I know it. All right. I'll start us off, since I got a ton of books. I'll try to breeze through a lot of these, not get too in depth, but I'll start with Totally Awesome Hulk number 3.
Yay!
Yeah. We get a lot of Amadeus as the Hulk battling Fin Fang Foom. And, of course, we get he passes out at one point, and I don't know, I guess he's dreaming again, if he's him driving this green convertible, and the Hulk was in the trunk. Mm-hmm. Well, the Hulk makes it to the back seat, so...
Hulk's getting in control, man.
Yeah, and then they give us a flashback, from 4 months ago when Banner was about to melt down. Well, Amadeus teleports in and tells Tony and T'Challa, he's like, you gotta save him, and Tony's like, don't you think I want to save him? He's my friend, but I guess they have a plan to transport Banner to the negative zone. So if he blows, and of course Amadeus is arguing with them until they, hit him with a tranq dart or something, and he's like, guys, Hulk's not a threat, he's the greatest hero this stupid world's ever had.
And not for nothing, how many times have we banished Hulk to another dimension, and how often has that worked out well? Yeah,
but, so, through the whole issue, the, Lady Hellbender's trying to capture Fin Fang Foom. She's saying, Fin Fang Foom's the strongest monster in the world, and Amadeus keeps saying, no, the Hulk is, I am. And, until at the end, Lady Hellbender's like, okay, I believe you, and then she, he gets tranked again by her, and she says, I believe you. So I guess she's gonna try to,
she's capturing the strongest monsters, and you're right, you're the strongest monster. Yeah. There you go.
But next issue 4, they're saying they're going to reveal how Amadeus became the Hulk.
Okay.
And then I guess in the letter pages they said there's another big Banner-related story coming in issue 7, so...
Ooh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
But,
okay.
It was good. Thumbs up. And...
Thumbs up.
Let me see. Go to Guardians. So you didn't get Guardians of the Galaxy number 5?
No, I tell you, I'm telling you this right now. I dropped a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. I dropped Guardians. I dropped Uncanny Avengers because it was a week late. Not because I don't like it, because it was a week late. It's like, you know what? I gotta make the cut. Some stuff might get picked up later, but right now we're cutting, and so Guardians got cut because I said, you know what? I wasn't that impressed by Yotat when he was in or whatever this character's name is, in the last one. It looked like a lot of fighting. I love Ben Grimm, but quite frankly, you know what? I'm not going to let them say, oh, here's Ben Grimm, buy this book, and because quite frankly, I'm really mad about the loss of the Fantastic Four in any variation, and I'm not just going to chase after either Johnny Storm or Ben Grimm, because I want my Fantastic Four back, and quite frankly, we've got a Doctor Doom that's trying to be good. Wouldn't it be a smart idea, Marvel, to have him reform a Fantastic Four to do good, since there's not a Fantastic Four right now, Marvel? Free idea, come on. Do me something here. Anyway. So I didn't get it as much as I wanted to because it's got Ben Grimm, but it's still not the Fantastic Four. And just so you know, Fantastic Four was always my core book. That and Captain America were my core books. The 2 books that are always getting canceled, quite frankly, from the main line. And they're like, oh, we're going to stop doing Captain America because no one cares about Captain America anymore. No one likes Fantastic Four anymore. It's like, I do. Well, anyway. And now I'm real soft on Captain America because they're doing all this stuff with Sam and getting rid of Sam. And it's like, you know what? Just let him be Cap for a while. Give him freaking 2 years, and that's the thing. It's like Rhodey had 2 years as Iron Man before they decided to write him out.
Kids in their attention span.
Yeah, kids today, they don't understand. Okay. So, are you going to do Guardians next? You're going to follow Cho to Old Man Logan. Because I said, it's a mutant book. I don't read mutant books. I'm going to drop it. As much as I loved that one, I loved Old Man Logan. But it's like you put too many books out the same week. And it's like, dude, I got to drop something. And it's like, you're going to put your best books out all on the same week? It's like, no, space it out. Because, and this is the truth of it, I'm going to be picking up DC books now because I'm dropping all my Marvels. So Starfire, hey, she got on the list. And you know what? Suicide Squad, I used to love them. They might come back. You know, we're going to see where it goes. And that's just money you're blowing, Marvel, because you're not thinking about how people who are reading these books have to budget themselves. There you go. That was
I recommend Grayson from DC, but DC's rebooting maybe in June, so you might be able to hop on there. They're gonna have a bunch of number ones.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't do the reboots, man. That's like, honestly, just say, oh, they're rebooting. That's not a selling point. Not for nothing. It's like, okay. But
okay.
But does Grayson come out next week? When's Grayson come out next?
Trying to let me pull my
If it's not crazy, I promise you the next new Grayson out will pick up.
Okay.
Based on your recommendation. Although I think...
No, not next week.
Yeah, honestly, taking a recommendation for you on Grace is like taking a recommendation for me on Fantastic Four. It's like that's your core book. I know how you feel about Dick Grayson, so...
Yeah, but no, I think most of the critics agree with me. It's like one of the
everything I've heard has been great about Grayson, so I'm happy to pick it up.
But anyway, we're a Marvel podcast. What do we do?
Oh, yeah, well, for now.
Oh, okay. Guardians number 5. But yeah, they're battling Yotat, and basically, well, they knock him down, and or they're knocking him down, and Peter Quill's like, he's like, why is this guy so mad at us? And Kitty like explains to him in a flashback how the rest of the team must have run into him on nowhere, like.
Okay. So rewind here.
Uh-huh.
This is a problem. This was my problem with Yotat. When I figured, it's like, I hate Drax the Destroyer. I must destroy Drax the Destroyer. And it's like, why? What is your motivation here? You know, I mean, it's like you're not going to give us a motivation. I guess they're going to give you a little bit of flashback motivation here, but it's like that seems kind of forced. It doesn't seem organic. You know, I hate when a villain doesn't make sense. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's why I like the Rhino as a villain. That's why I like Absorbing Man as a villain, because they're just criminals, and they're criminals who had always been criminals. Then they got superpowers and they started doing super crimes. So the existence of superheroes are completely irrelevant to them. But you have a guy who's like, oh well, now we're going to manufacture why this random person is now very mad at all of our characters. It's like, no, superheroes enter the picture and defeat criminals. Sorry.
But you know, so I guess the rest of the team ran into him on nowhere, and there's a few funny scenes like Ben Grimm once getting on the fight and hit Yotat, and rocket fire some kind of rocket launcher at Yotat. He's like, "Seniority, Earth Rock." And then when they were on Nowhere, they ran into the Nowhere Corps, which I guess is led by Moondragon. It's like Moondragon, Mantis, Cosmo, Bug from Micronauts, or
I see Bug getting work.
Yeah, but then they defeat him they defeat Yotat in the present day, but and then Hala, they're like, where'd she go? She was phased into the ground, but she tried to get away, but she passed out because she finally took enough damage. She passed out. They get Gamora to the hospital. She's gonna be fine, but the Council and Spartax, I guess they hold Peter Quill accountable for the attack, so he gets thrown out as king. So he's back
that ties that all up with a nice, neat bow.
Yep, he's back on the team, and then on the last page, it's Annihilus and the Brood Queen. They're talking. I guess it's part of that. That was part of their plan. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're not making me regret not buying it. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's one, it was good. I give it a thumbs up, but it's not going to hurt you to miss it.
Yeah. We'll check out Guardians again next month, and we'll see where it's at. Because I got to make my choices here, and until there's a Fantastic Four book, I don't have my base at Marvel right now. It's like I'm kind of floating between everything, and I have to figure out what I'm going to do. Now that said, I'm loving Thor. I'm loving Ms. Marvel. And speaking of Thor, let's hop into Illuminati number 4, which I'm going to say I really enjoyed. One of the things that I love about the Illuminati book. So there's a lot of villain books out there. Okay. Mm-hmm. One of the things that is common to any villain book is collateral good gets done. It's like, oh, we're evil, we're the worst of the worst, but we're going to wind up doing something. Some evil is going to get undone because of our being the worst of the worst. The Illuminati aren't that in any way, in any sense. There is going to be no collateral good. At least so far, there's no collateral good with the Illuminati, and they don't want to do a collateral good. These aren't, and this is the thing, these aren't nice people, and I like that. I like that they don't have a twisted moral code or a sense of honor. They're backstabbing, low-level thugs who like to punch people because it's real fun to punch people, and anyway, but of course, and this is the thing I love, is that the heel face turn is such a thing in comic books that as soon as Thor shows up and says, "Titania, I heard you were trying to turn over a new leaf," and it says, "Yeah, that's what we're all doing. We're here to do good. That's why we're at this rock. We heard these evil Roxxon scientists were doing something." So we're going to go bust them up. We're the new Defenders. And Thor basically says, Thor the Worthy. This was my new I'm differentiating. It's Thor the Worthy, Odin's son the Unworthy. And Thor the Worthy, basically says, I can see your fork come from here, Hood. And then, of course, the guards show up at Roxxon, start shooting at everybody. And it was like, I thought we were going to be doing this quiet, Hood. And he says, well, I think that, Lady Thor tipped him off. And Hood says, hey, Thor, how about that team up we were discussing? And she says, no, I'm just going to transport you. Starts swinging the hammer. So I'm just going to transport you guys away and I'll deal with this later. And Titania says, no, you're not. And basically gets into a nice little fight with Thor as the Hood's gang goes and deals with the guards. Pretty great battle as they're fighting through things. They're using Ant-Man because I guess the gateway to Asgard isn't finished. So, and a nice tie-in with the Thor book and Roxxon actually using, having a war in Asgard right now and showing that this is tied into that. They basically get the gateway open, and they manage to get across. As Thor destroys the machine. During this fight with Thor, Titania starts glowing and really, getting this power upgrade going. And she's feeling really good about it because, it feels like when she first got her powers from Dr. Doom. So that's pretty awesome. And then, of course, what happens? They shrink down the armory into a little thing, and then Matt Tinker steals it all from them. And he says, I was just here for the Asgardian technology. Do I need to tell you the parable of the scorpion and the frog? And they say, Wrecking Ball says, Thunderball says, we all know that. We all know that parable. You are so out of ideas, Matt Tinker, which is, of course, why Matt Tinker needed to steal the Asgardian technology. Anyway, he had turned Black Ant to a bomb. They figure, well, if Black Ant shrinks down to microscopic size, then it won't do as much damage. It still takes like the half of the armory out. But everyone apparently survives because next issue, we're all arrested. In Asgard. Thumbs up for Illuminati. I like the book. It plays with the heel face turn and keeps them all heels. And honestly, I am loving Titania. They've really given her depth as a character. I want her and Marsha to meet up at some point in the storyline. Marsha While Kenya was her best friend back in Colorado, where they grew up before they went to the Secret Wars world. Titania was the like too skinny kid. Marsha was the kind of fat kid, and they kind of bonded because they were both the outcasts. And then, Dr. Doom said, "Hey, you're outcast. Let's give you immense superhuman powers." And then fools will make them pay. But of course, Marsha settled down with the Molecule Man, but now that's a whole thing. I want them to get back together, rekindle that, best friend, BFF friendship, and sort of find their way through the Illuminati. So I'm going to write to them. I keep on saying I'm going to write to these people. I'm going to try and write to them and say, bring back Marsha. Okay. What's your next couple books, Phil? Thumbs up.
All right. Well, we'll go to some X-Men stuff. First, all new X-Men number 4. It starts off in Tokyo, Japan. Angel and Wolverine are going to take out, looks like a bunch of gunmen wearing demon masks holding hostages. I don't know, Angel seems to have some kind of problem as he whips his girlfriend through the window and takes some bullets, and then she's like, ouch, that really hurt. And she goes to attack the gunman.
Is this Young Angel or?
Oh yeah. These are all the young guys.
Okay, and his girlfriend is that
all new Wolverine.
All new wonderful. So it is all new Wolverine and old Man Logan in that team up here.
No, Angel and all new Wolverine.
Oh, see, I got confused by it. Okay, now I know where we're at. Okay, thank you.
But so then they flash ahead to after the fight, and I guess this team of X-Men is really popular in Tokyo, especially Cyclops now, since video of, the last arc hit the internet. Because they're all just like chanting, they all want autographs. They're like, Cyclops, Mr. Scott, Cyclops, will you sign? And then everyone's all like intrigued as they see Wolverine tweezing bullets out of her skin. Then in Paris, France, we see someone stealing exotic animals. And then I guess the young X-Men are just traveling around, like, dealing with natural disasters, because then they're in California dealing with a forest fire, and once again Wolverine dives right in to save people, even though she sets herself on fire.
That's the whole point of being a Wolverine, is you have that healing factor, so might as well get set on fire.
Yeah, then they're off the coast of Thailand, I guess, and they're dealing with some kind of storm. And I guess Iceman freezes most of the waves, but then they're like, "Oh, where's Wolverine?" And she like digs her way out of the ice. Let's see. Then they're partying. Oh, but then I guess Angel and Wolverine have their talk. He's like, "Do you have a whole like, oh, what is this hardcore thing? Do you have a death wish or something?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "My role in the team is to take risks, to swallow the bullets and burn so no one else has to." She's like, "I'm the one who won't get hurt." And they're about to get into it more, but there's they're back in France, but there's a disturbance at a restaurant. We find out who's stealing exotic animals, Charlie. It's the Blob, so you can eat them. And once again, another villain in a suit, because they said Blob's sporting a Dolce & Gabbana suit.
He's doing well, but since when does the Blob just like eat raw animals?
Well, I mean, it's not raw. Not raw. He's at a restaurant. I guess he's like threatening the chef to cook him, but so he's gonna cook him. But
so he's like doing this as an exotic thing.
I guess he's trying to be, eating exotic animals, wearing expensive suits. Because like Angel's like, must have cost a fortune to have that suit made in his size. He's like, dude used to run around in a strongman singlet. Not a good look.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to say yes. It's good to see they put on some pants.
Yeah. So the two of them go. Well, Wolverine dives in to attack him, so Angel has to go in too. But yeah, he actually throws whatever animal he was going to eat at Angel, so Angel's pinned under the animal. And then at the end of the issues, the Blob just starts pummeling Wolverine. You see like blood flying and everything.
Yeah. Well, healing factor is really great, but, the Blob is literally an immovable object,
Yeah.
And even Pop Claus. He's actually a really formidable character, and especially now they've given him like superhuman strength of late, because everyone always said, that immovable thing is kind of not very visual, but now they give him superhuman strength. So he's actually pretty formidable as villains go, as fat guy villains go.
But that's a thumbs up. And then to continue that trend, I'll go to All New Wolverine number 5. Picks up after last issue. Laura and the clones are in Pym Laboratories, where Doctor Strange transported them because she needs to use the Ant-Man suit. But the Wasp shows up. It says Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, current owner of Pym Laboratories. She's asking him what. Yeah, she's asking him what they're doing, and Wolverine says, she needs the Ant-Man suit, and she's like, well, how did you bypass the security system? And one of the clones says magic, and Laura says, Doctor Strange sent us, and she's like, Strange just teleported you in without. Of course he did. So then she calls him up. The Wasp calls him up, and she goes, you have my number. Next time you want to teleport desperate armed people onto my property, you call ahead. It may not sound very Sorcerer Supreme, but it's common courtesy, Steven.
Fair enough,
Yeah.
Monaco would always call ahead. I'm just gonna say.
But then I guess the people at Alchemex are getting twitchy that their whole plan's about to go under. But the Wasp goes into she shrinks down with Laura to go in. Laura's wearing the Ant-Man suit with like a not the helmet, but just like a transparent helmet. They go in, they start fighting the nanobots, which even Alchemex didn't know. Now Alchemex can track them, because I guess the nanobots send out a signal when they're getting destroyed. So the Wasp and Laura are killing the nanobots, but then the head of Alchemex Security shows up and shoots the clone. But then Laura and the Wasp enlarge, and the Wasp takes them out the Alchemex guy with her sting. And the clone, I guess maybe just the damage from the nanobots and the bullet. Well, the clone dies. The healing factor doesn't kick in, so Laura suits back up, and her and the clones are going to, I guess, take it to Alchemex.
Now, so like when they say nanobots, there were like, what, 6 of them? So there was like 6 nanobots in here?
No.
Because when you think of like nanobots, you're thinking like, oh, there's like, hundreds of these little virus things. But
I don't know how many, but there was more than 6.
Okay. So just, I don't know. I always get into this idea with this, attacking these things. Like, whenever you're going to shrink down and go into something, it should be like one thing you're going after. Because otherwise it doesn't really make much sense to shrink down and deal with it,
Well, the one thing they said is once they started attacking the first few, the other ones came at them, so all the nanobots basically converged in one spot.
Okay, sure, makes sense.
All right, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Oh yeah, that's 2. Okay, so let's hop into inspired by the hit TV series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Strategic Homeland Initiative Enforcement Logistics Division. So, very fascinating aspect of this. So, remember last episode we met Lola, Phil's ex-fiance, and we get the basic reveal here that she was a honeypot. That basically she's a telepath. The DOD, she's a telepath who works for the DOD, Department of Defense. They said, there's this guy named Phil Coulson who is the leading expert on superheroes and how to beat them. Go literally pick his brain. And after she got all the data on how to defeat all these superheroes, which apparently there's 87, I believe, which honestly, again, does not sound that impressive. But that's the thing, okay? So, but after she had gotten all the information, she basically broke up with him, which is sad. Because, it's like, dude, he loved you, and you're You were just using him, and it's like, and hey, I know stuff like that happens, but it's like, that's out cold. That's out cold. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, so they go to Madripoor, which I always think of it as a villainous country. So it's like weird that they have a superhero protector, who I'm guessing they just randomly put in here, because they basically kill him right away. As Gwenpool says, you've never heard of him before, right? He probably just existed for me to defeat. So we have this character by the name of Horus, Tariq Fayyad, defender of Madripoor. His power source is a Coptic staff, but the Coptic staff is vulnerable to high-spectrum sonics. So he shatters the staff, he loses his powers, shoots him. Basically, takes away Batman's utility belt. Takes away Green Lantern's ring, kills him. Easy peasy. We're setting it up for the story. Anyway, Lola and Phil, because Lola is a telepath, they go to get some information so they can find out where the quantum drive is being stored. Meanwhile, Leo Fitz and Mockingbird and Henry Hayes, Deathlock, and it's kind of nice to see them having like a core team now. They do a jump onto a plane in North Korea. Apparently it was the North Koreans who stole the device and are auctioning it off to the highest bidder. Sure, why not? Leo and Mockingbird break in, and then Phil and Lola chase after Melina Vostokov, aka the Iron Maiden, former KGB, and she basically has like she looks a little like she's like a female. She looks like a female Colossus. I don't know if she actually has like living armor or if she's just wearing a Doctor Doom armor. But that's basically how she's designed. Anyway, Phil knocks her down, so I'm guessing she does not have incredible superhuman strength. And he asks her the question, and Lola says, I got the information, and they go after it. Meanwhile, they got like the time of they got the time, but they're trying, we got the date and time for the Axiom seal, but his contact didn't know the place. Fitz is working on that, getting that out of the machine. Meanwhile, Phil is back in Paris with Lola, having wine and dinner, because, he's the head of the group, so he gets to do that. His part was done. Meanwhile, Fitz and Mockingbird are fighting off North Korean soldiers on a plane about to blow up. They get the information, and then this is the big reveal. This is why you had to pick this book up, because this is the start of Standoff. Lola says, tell General Starkovsky he was right. Tell him S.H.I.E.L.D. is even more dangerous than he thought. Tell him to look into a place called Pleasant Hill. Something's going on there that's going to rip S.H.I.E.L.D. apart from the inside out. Dun, dun, dun. And next month, actually it says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming in February, so I guess we're going to do a third one at the end of the month, and that's everyone breaking into something, and then we're going into Standoff. Bum, 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 bum. So, thumbs up overall. It was a decent book. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not regretting the $4 I spent, and hey, it's the first book in the Standoff series, so hurrah for that.
Mm-hmm. All right, then I will go. Speaking of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Avengers, I'll go to All New Hawkeye number 4. A good deal. This issue deals with like flashbacks into Kate's life growing up, and especially when she was home from like boarding school. Her mother was away more and more, and her father had to always said he was going to make time for her, but eventually she learned he's always at work, and she eventually learns his work is basically beating the crap out of guys.
Aha!
He's mobbed or something. He's something, I don't know.
He's Magia.
No. And then meanwhile in the present, Hawkeye's trying to, I guess Kate's already gone off to try to find the kids, but Hawkeye's questioning Maria Hill about the 3 kids. They give us the origin of the kids, Charlie. They're Inhumans.
Oh, more Inhumans. Well, that's convenient.
I guess Maria Hill said the Terrigen Cloud hit the orphanage in Boston where they were living. So,
more to the point, we can't have mutants anymore.
Yep. So Hawkeye takes off to try to find them and find Kate. He goes in with the S.H.I.E.L.D. rescue team, and he's like, he says he's going to go in solo, and the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys are like, sorry, sir, Director Hill was explicit that we accompany you. And he's like, of course she was. Well, then, fellas, try and keep up as he leaps out of the plane. He shoots a line to the plane, and he swings down, and he hears somebody in one of the transports down below saying, Hail Hydra. And he's like, Hydra? Did you see that move? They don't teach moves like that in Hydra school, pal. You picked the wrong team. He goes, Hail Hawkeyes. He kicks the guy in the head. So they're trying to take out this Hydra convoy. And the issue pretty much ends with Hawkeye getting shot and falling off the one transport. So, wonder if he'll live. Probably. But it was a good issue. Thumbs up. And
yay! And of course he'll live. He has a parachute arrow. Don't you always have a parachute arrow for just such an emergency?
Well, they showed him hit the ground, but I'm sure he's fine.
Okay, yeah, hitting the ground, that's not good.
Well, just from a truck, yeah, I mean...
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I guess I was thinking back in S.H.I.E.L.D. and them falling out of the plane, because...
Yeah.
There was a whole thing about Fitz not having a shoot when he fell off the plane, so... Yeah, okay.
Alright, and then I guess I'll go to Spider-Man 2099, number 6. Basically, well, it starts in Parker Industries. Peter has a couple guys working on a, what is this? Something they got from Medusa. It's some kind of crystal, but it goes off and it puts, it puts a female scientist in one of the cocoons, so I guess she's an Inhuman.
Yeah, how it goes.
And, I guess the scientist was actually Jasmine's girlfriend. Jasmine, who's I don't think she's Miguel's assistant. She's his assistant's assistant. I don't know. It gets complicated, but
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, what's her name?
Jasmine. She's one of the assistants around there, and I guess the scientist is one of her girlfriend. Girlfriend.
So that would be the person who Roberta is the assistant of, right? Because Roberta is the assistant to the assistant.
I think it's weird, but then they show Miguel. He's with Roberta, and she doesn't remember she's Captain America. And he's just like, wow, this is weird. He's thinking to himself, wow, this is weird. And then Lila calls him and says, Miguel, you might want to get back to the office. There's a situation here. He's like, yeah, what? She's like, well, one of your employees is trapped in a cocoon. So they're trying to figure out what to do with this cocoon. There's a flash of light, and I guess this is Lash that pops in. It looks like Lash.
Did we see Lash last? Oh yeah, Lash is fighting all the Inhumans. Okay, yeah, because he doesn't like Inhumans.
Well, I think it's Lash, but he takes the cocoon, and so of course Miguel suits up and he steals the cocoon off Lash, and so they're fighting, and let's see, what's Lash say? Oh, he says once she emerges from her transformation, then I will decide whether you live or die. So more fighting.
Yeah, that's his shtick.
But I guess the suit it's the Spider-Man 2099 suit can take at least one of Lash's shots, but that's about it. Miguel's like, anymore, and he's not. But then I guess Lash teleports them out, and where are they at? Oh, they're on Mount Nyiragongo in the Congo. So they're fighting over the cocoon.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, they're fighting over the cocoon, and then at the end of the issue, it cracks open, and the woman pops out. She's all golden and glowing, and like floating in the air.
No,
there's either a halo or like flaming horns above her head. I guess we'll figure out which is which.
So, see, they were worried for nothing, because that's like, oh, you're a good Inhuman, you're cool. That's what Lash will say. He's like, oh no, that's good, that's cool, man. Come and join me, because we're the awesome team. We're Team Awesome Inhuman.
But yeah, I give this one a thumbs up. But I'm always trying to like figure out titles for like our episodes anymore. I think this title should be Inhumans Everywhere.
Yeah, well, can't use mutants. So, Inhumans.
How many more do you have on your own?
I have 2 more on my own.
Okay, I have 3. I guess I can do 3 after you do your one.
Okay, and then I'll do my last one. Okay, so let's do the new Avengers. Let loose the Demiurge. New tech, new ideas, new mission. They are the new Avengers. So when last we left our heroes, the Avengers of 20XX, because we can't tell you exactly when, but sometime before the 21st or the 23rd century, or 22nd century, right? Yeah, this is the 21st century. Yeah, sometime before the 22nd century, presumably. I'm going to say start recounting. Although Danielle Cage is here, so I'm guessing that it's not too far. In fact, pretty much based on how old Danielle looks here, I'm guessing it's sometime within the next 20 years. Considering that these are all the children of active heroes, it's not that far in the future, presumably. Anyway, but so we open up. Danielle Cage is there. She's the new Captain America, and plotline. They basically say, and Danielle says, "Look, I'm from this time period. I'll do the talking." And Hulkling there, King Hulk, Teddy Altman basically says, "You were a baby in this time period. I was already the king of space." But so he explains, Billy Kaplan's been taken over by the Demiurge. He's going to destroy everything. Blah blah blah. Demiurge and the rest of the new Avengers show up. They have a fight. Demiurge destroys Captain America's shield, but of course it's not the real shield. The real shield was destroyed, and that's when we realize that it's more than just the shield. And she says, "I am the shield," and punches Kaplan. Songbird does a thing to sort of incapacitate everyone with a sonic blast, but as it turns out, the new Marvel woman is actually her daughter, and so is immune to her powers. And then White Tiger sets out the Tiger God, who is very scary to humans, but not to the Iron Mariner, because, of course, why would an Atlantean fear a tiger? Basically, King Hulk, Teddy realizes he has to kill Billy, because there's no Billy left. It's just the Demiurge, and then young Teddy Hulkling says no, reaches out to him and says, "I know he can fight it." And then we go inside the mind and we see Teddy wake up and he's facing Demiurge, and Demiurge is like, "You are in the nest of Moradon, made deep in your mind. Lie down and sleep, accept your fate. If you submit, it will be quick for you. Your tiny spirit will gutter out quickly without great pain. You will be spared the dreadful end, the screaming death of reality, as I snap and tear and suck the marrow from the bone and make my heaven from the corpse," blah, blah, blah. And he says, "Wow, you really need to work on that pitch." They get into a little fight, and then Demiurge says, "You are far from hope, little warper, far from any who could help. From my seat in yourself, I can fill you with bile and ill humors, poison thoughts, despair and pain, self-hate and self-fear, scouring you, tearing at you at your will until..." And he goes, "Wait. None have ever withstood." He says, "Wait, that's your weapon? That's all you've got?" Says, "What?" Says, "You don't know people, do you?" And of course, this is an interesting point because he's from the 5th universe. He's before people. Says, "A voice in my head that doesn't like me. That's your big horror?" It says, life is horror." Says, "Oh, shut up. You don't know. I know what poison thoughts are. I know what poison thoughts are like, Mordon. I always have. I get anxiety. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't like myself. Even though I know rationally, I know doesn't matter. I have bad days, bad thoughts, and sometimes, yeah, they're hard to fight, but I don't let them win every day, and I'm damn sure not going to let you win today. He says, you're just a cheap little bully who likes breaking toys more than. It says, and you won't have, and you shouldn't have let me see you. Get out of my head. And he basically vomits up a little squid thing, which is Mordon, and Squirrel says, ooh, and yet also kind of cute, but still, ooh. And it says, World Mind confirms that, this is what the Nova says, that thing's Mordon, all right, all of Mordon. Kaplan's clean. He says, tell that to my tongue. I want that taste out of my mouth forever. Says, yeah, smart thinking. Come here, you. And then they kiss, Hulkling and Billy. It's very cute. Says, and King Hulk says, this is real, isn't it? We did it, Billy. We. And then he flashes to a future that's not, hellish. And he says, and he's got a little gray hair, and he's in his human form. And he says, they have a little bit of beautiful domesticity as they send the drone out to get food sometime in the future. Very sweet. I like that, and I like this among other reasons, just because it wasn't love that sort of breaks the curse of the demiurge. It's just the fact that Billy goes, you know what? Humans deal with bad thoughts all the time. You're just a bad thought. We have you in our heads constantly. You're not that scary. And I kind of like that as a wonderful switch, because normally it would have been, the love of two people broke the curse. But no, actually it's just, I can deal with it because I deal with this kind of stuff all the time. So thumbs up for New Avengers. Really enjoyed it. It was fun.
Okay. All right. I'll do my last three on my own. I'll start with Old Man Logan number 2. I do have one more
after that.
Okay.
So if you want to do one and then one, we can do that too.
Okay. Well, in that case, all right. I'll switch off. I'll save Old Man Logan for after your next one. I'll do the two Deadpool books. I'll start with Deadpool number 7, the 25th anniversary issue, the big $10 book. I have to say, I
dropped Deadpool because of that. Because it's like, you're going to give me another, because the last one was like $10. Not that long ago, right? Or 8. It was a lot, and it's like, now you're going to just throw another one in there? You know what? Deadpool. You might come back later, but not right now.
I was going to say, don't worry about it, because only the main story really focused on Deadpool. Like, all the other stories were, like, focused on one of the other mercenaries. So I felt a little gypped. Yeah, so basically, Deadpool's, like, was with the mercs, then he goes back to the theater where him and the Avengers live, finds his gun, he finds a little black book, I guess, with people who he's holding grudges against, because he goes to see Iron Fist, and then he's, like, fighting the hand ninjas, and they're like, we don't even know why you come after us every couple months. He's like, everyone who originally started this with you is dead. Then he goes to see his wife, and, well, they start fighting, but then it says 10 minutes later, and they flash them in bed.
That's their relationship.
Yeah, but so they're feeling all happy, but then she chains up his one arm to the wall. She's like, I don't want you wandering away again. So what does Deadpool do? He gnaws his own hand off. Then they show him super gluing it back on later.
Very cute.
So he's looking through his little black book, and he's like, what is this? And there's just 2 pages where it says, real big, Creed was there. He's like, he was where? He's like, maybe Madcap wrote some of these. Then they showed Deadpool going after a guy who, I guess a couple years ago, just like rode past him in a car and yelled, Snape kills Dumbledore. And I guess said he spoiled Harry Potter for him.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's a scene you might enjoy. They showed, I guess at one point he was mad at Doc Samson because he went to see Doc Samson. Samson's in his office, and I guess he's like in a session with the Professor Hulk. Alive? No, this is a flashback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I guess he went to see Samson, but Samson's in a session with the Professor Hulk, and the Hulk's like, I'm ashamed to admit I smashed him. But But yeah, Samson's saying he'll help Deadpool, and Deadpool's like, really? You'll help me get my head together? And Samson's like, I swear on my life. Then they flash to the present day, and Deadpool basically has dug up Doc Samson and is yelling at his coffin. Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of my feeling on all of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't miss. I mean, it was cute, but you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
But they're basically setting up. I guess next issue starts the arc where him versus Sabretooth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, all the backup stories were basically, the first one was focused on Terror. Then the next one was Stingray.
How was Madcap's story?
I don't think.
Did Madcap not even get a story?
I don't think. No, yeah, he's out now. No, yeah.
Wait, do I mean? No, I meant Slapstick.
Oh, okay. Slapstick was all right. He Slapstick got a job where he was trying to protect this woman from Taskmaster, but she has some kind of ability where, like, if you're not looking at her, you forget her. So Slapstick kept saying, "Who are you? Who are you?"
That's how does Taskmaster remember her?
I guess it's something to do with his memory, his. I know his physical memory power.
Well, because his whole thing right now is that his memory is full of holes. So it's like,
your head would explode. Yeah, I know. It's a good thing you didn't read this.
Yeah.
Then there was a Menace story that was like mostly in Spanish, so that was kind of pointless to me.
I mean, Massacre.
Oh, Massacre. Yes, Massacre.
I gotta learn Spanish, man.
I took French in high school. I'm sorry.
I took French in high school, and in order to get a passing grade, my teacher said, "I will give you a pass, but do not take Spanish too. You should not speak Spanish." He was a nice guy, but he was like, "You got your language credit to graduate. I'm not going to fail you over this, but some people just should not speak Spanish." And I said, "Okay, teach. Thanks for the heads up."
Yeah, then the Fool Killer storyline. I guess Fool Killer is going back to school for a psychology degree.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you didn't miss much. And then the last story was about Solo, and it basically shows how Solo hooked up with Deadpool to be one of his mercenaries.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I think I'm giving this one 3/4 up. Just like I said, I was disappointed.
Yeah,
there wasn't more. They touted this as like the big, 25th anniversary of Deadpool's first appearance and all this, and it's like basically, I mean, he showed up a little bits in the backup stories, but most of the issue he wasn't the main player. So it's like, okay.
And like I said, you know what told me this was not going to be a good book right off the bat is they didn't do the 25th anniversary border. When they had the silver anniversary of all of Marvel books, 25th anniversary of Fantastic Four, they had the big silver border with all the heroes. It's like that would have been the perfect thing to do to let you know this was going to be worth your while. That hey, we know we're going to tie this in. It's like no, this is just a cash grab.
No.
Yeah. Cash register sound effect.
Oh. Sorry, I missed that.
No, it's okay. That's why I said
Marvel.
Cash register. There we go. Yeah, at a certain point, like I said, Marvel is bugging me now because it's like, I'm not buying their. I bought a lot of their books. I'm not buying their books, but it's like, I'm like, what, Marvel, we have to talk. Marvel, we have to talk. Okay.
Okay, but
so that was your two books?
No.
That was just the first.
That was just the one, but I'll go to my pick of the week. The other Deadpool book, Spider-Man Deadpool, which was a lot better. I like Joe Kelly when he writes Deadpool. Yeah. So it starts off with Peter holding another press conference for Parker Industries' newest invention, Webware 2.0, basically smartwatches.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Deadpool and his wife in bed, and basically Deadpool's doing research on the internet. about Peter Parker, and he's like, basically Peter Parker's a nasty guy. He's like, he's like, I got to make sure he's really bad before I kill him. And the wife's like, why? And he's like, you may recall I'm an Avenger now, and according to Clubhouse rules, I'm not supposed to off someone without a really, really, really good reason. So then they go to Peter's swinging around this Spider-Man, and Miles Morales calls him and says, we got a problem. And basically Miles is confronting Deadpool, who's just like hugging people on the street, calling for Spider-Man. And he's like, Deadpool's like, I'm looking for Spider-Man. He's like, the real Spider-Man. And Miles is like, I am the real Spider-Man. You're breaking the law, I think. And Deadpool's like, you, sir, are spider adjunct. And he's like, probably a clone. He has a thing for clones. And Miles is like, I am not a clone. And Deadpool says, that's what clones always say. So then Peter comes in, webs Deadpool by the butt and pulls him up. So he's hanging him upside down again. And I'm
really confused by the fact that Deadpool doesn't know Peter Parker's secret identity.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, especially because he like knows, he knows issues, and he knows. It's like, what is going on with that? See, this would have bugged me too. It's like, well, why doesn't he know that? Because he is comically aware. He would know. He knows everyone's secret identity, doesn't he? It's like,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Peter hangs him upside down, and Miles is like, I hate your friend. And he's like, he's not my friend. Then Deadpool's like, well, you jammed my boys into my diaphragm with that move. He's like, I'm busy, Deadpool. What do you want? My fruit snacks back in their pouch. So many. I love this book. There's so many funny lines. But so basically, the spiders both knock Deadpool out. But then when he wakes up, the spiders think they're seeing green goblins everywhere. Most people are like, seems like they're hallucinating, but except for a few people. And Deadpool's like, what's going on? And so of course Deadpool steals the old Spider-Mobile, the Dune Buggy style one, and repaints it. Yeah, but
built by,
he's like,
who built the first one?
Was it the Human Torch?
Yeah, Chinese store.
Yeah. So Deadpool drives it up the side of a building and tackles Peter, and he's like, so couldn't help but notice that you're suffering a mass hallucination. He's like, gluten overdose probably, or you've been watching Kardashian TV. So he's fighting with the spiders, and then Deadpool pulls out a gun and blows the webware watches off their wrists, because I guess someone was making everyone hallucinate with the watches, and because
the watches can make you hallucinate.
I guess because Deadpool's like, I noticed that poor people, Luddites, and nonconformists like myself weren't flipping out.
Yeah, can I just dial this back a bit? That is like a majorly problematic design flaw, that this device can access your central nervous system and give you a holographic input of hallucinations. This is like, you know what? I'm just going to say this right now. This is the end of Parker Industries. It's like, he is just destroying every good thing that Otto did for him. And Otto's going to come back. He's going to like, Peter, I set you up so well. And it's like, who sells a device that hacks your central nervous system? And that can be hacked. It's like, it's... Oh, Peter.
And who's the big villain who hacked the watches, Charlie?
I don't know. Who could that be?
Mysterio.
Oh, Mysterio. Oh, of course, hallucinations. That's his shtick.
Until Deadpool hits him with the Spider-Mobile.
Now, is this actually... See, this is always that complex question. Is it Mysterio? Is it the guy who bought Mysterio's costume?
Well, Deadpool starts giving him CPR with the helmet off, and Peter goes, "Is that really Beck? Oh my god!" Because I guess he thought maybe it wasn't at first.
Oh, so the original Mysterio is back. Okay. Because there was the whole Kevin Smith storyline where a guy stole. So he's dead no more too now, I guess. Okay.
I guess, yeah.
You know, because he was that. Yeah, there's a guy who could do like he was a mutant with low level teleportation powers. Then he stole he bought Mysterio's costume because he wanted to confuse Spider-Man when he eventually destroyed him as part of Kevin Smith's Spider-Man Black Cat series.
Black Cat.
Yeah, years ago, man. Who remembers that? And I remember The Evil That Men Do, and it took 6 years before Kevin Smith remembered. Oh, wait, I have to write that last book, don't I? It was
I know.
The weirdest thing is wrote 2 books, and then it was and then they just no one actually asked him to write the 3rd book, and then it was somewhere I said, wait, doesn't Kevin Smith didn't we pay Kevin Smith for 3 books? And he's like, hey, Kevin Smith, where's that 3rd dang book you were supposed to write? He's like, oh yeah, that's right, the book. Kevin Smith smokes a lot of things that hurt your memory, so kids, don't smoke. Public service message from Charlie the Professor Esser: don't smoke things that harm your memory, or really don't smoke anything. If it's on fire, don't put it in your lungs. Your lungs don't like things that are on fire. Just as a general rule, kids, make a note. I know Nick Fury makes it look cool, but he had the Infinity Formula. Think about it, the Infinity Formula and healing factors with Logan, and made out of rock. If you're Ben Grimm, it's like everyone who smoked in the Marvel Universe, had something that kept them from dying from it. So don't smoke, kids. You're not made of rocks.
Big thumbs up with our public service announcement.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Distracting. Anyway, yeah, because this isn't going long enough as it is.
You want to do your last solo book, and then I'll do Old Man Logan?
We're going to do Ms. Marvel number 4. Let's see here. So we open up with Amir asking his parents with his beautiful girlfriend. What's her name? I'm trying to say her name again. But anyway, basically asks to get married, and Kamala's like, "Yay! This is so cool. I like her because she read Dune," and then the parents are like, well, I don't know. It seems a little, we don't know her. Who are her people? Where is she from? And basically, Amir says, oh, I know what this is about. And what it's about is that she is African American, not Pakistani. And yeah, and they're like, well, we're not saying we're not prejudiced or anything. But basically, they talk it through. She, and Amir's father is like, when, how are you going to get married? You don't even have a job, yada yada yada. And it's too pious to have a mortgage, which is a nice little thing in there about the Islamic culture where you're not supposed to have, you're not supposed to pay usury debts or take usury debts. But anyway, basically, his man, I'm trying to find her name here. I keep on forgetting it. Anyway, basically she says, our plan was that we were going to live here, and that turns the mom and dad right around because it's very traditional. We'll have the whole multiple generations under one roof. Wouldn't that be lovely? Yada yada yada. And then they're saying, and Kamala, you'll do this and you'll do that to get ready for the wedding, all the things. And meanwhile, Iron Man's calling her saying, we need you to go deal with some neurotoxins being shipped into Jersey City. That's your territory. Go take it out. Basically, she goes. This is Faustus's men who are still mad at her because Faustus. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if Faustus escaped or if he's just from jail coordinating things. But basically, she's taking out the bad guys, but they're kind of getting over her because she's kind of stressed out and. She's getting a C in algebra, so it's kind of having a rough day. She is really getting smacked around, and she realizes that she has to call in the rest of the Avengers, and she's feeling like, a little kid here is Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man clean up her mess, and she's she's in class the next day, and she gets kicked out of social studies because she doesn't really have her report prepared. And then she goes, hangs out with Bruno in the lab, and Bruno has these little lightning golems that he's been able to reproduce based on Loki's design. Kamala realizes, hey, you can make them look like anything. And so she builds herself two other extra Kamalas, one to go to her classes for her, and one to do all the wedding stuff while she goes out in Avengers. And, this will end well, right, Phil? This will end well. A little bit less so, since when Bruno comes into the lab the next day, there's like 20 Kamalas all hanging out in his lab, because apparently they left the printer running. I give it a thumbs up. It's always, it's a fun book. I loved aspects of one thing I loved is just dealing with what a pain it is to be a superhero and a teenager, how much work it is, and how it doesn't work. As we said last week, not everybody is going to be lucky enough, which poor Miles, telling him not everyone's going to be lucky enough to have an Otto Octavius get their, take over their body and get their life straightened out, which, as we already know, Peter is already ruining. Like 5 minutes after Otto leaves, Peter's like, "Oh, let's go destroy this entire empire that I was given by the kindliness of Otto." And so you got to focus on grades. And Bruno tells us to Kamala, people should want to get good grades, want to study, want to do what they need to do to get by. But she's like, "Yeah, but being an Avenger is so awesome, and it's important." And it's hard to be a teenage superhero, man. That's what I'll say.
All right. So I guess I'll do my final book on my own. Old Man Logan #2.
Yeah, Old Man Logan.
Starts with like a flashback of his, I guess his past and the future. It was basically.
I really wanted to get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Banner's kids in the future, they were like harassing some farmer and killing his livestock, and Logan's like, "Oh, I should do something," and his wife's like, "No, don't, that's not your fight anymore, your fight's over." But then he's remembering, well, then it became my fight when they killed my wife and kids, and so he decides to go after the Hulk. He basically cuts him at the knees, and the Hulk's like, "Ow, that hurt." And Amadeus is like, because he calls him Bub, he's like, "Bub." He's like, "Wait, what are you, Wolverine's dad or something?" He's like, "I'll fight you, but not here. There's too many people." So he basically punches Old Man Logan, sends him flying, and
now, does Old Man Logan know that he's Amadeus in this, or does he think this is the Hulk and he's just in a weird phase?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he says. He's like, "Weird, that doesn't sound much like Banner." He goes, "He must be in one of his phases. Guy changes more than the moon. Gray, green, dumb, smart." So yeah, he thinks it's Bruce Banner in a weird phase. So so he was thinking, he calmed down for a second, but then he remembered his family and he freaked out again. He puts his claws through Amadeus's hand. He's trying to drop heavy stuff on him. But then there's something weird here. Like, Amadeus gets in like a good shot, and of course he said the healing factor ain't what it used to be. We know that because he's old. But he's like shoulders dislocated, maybe worse. At least 6 broken ribs. So his ribs aren't adamantium?
What?
He says at least 6 broken ribs. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, isn't the whole skeleton adamantium? Last I knew, ribs were part of the skeleton.
Maybe. Here's what I'll say. This is definitely a... the Old Man Logan we're dealing with, it's the Old Man Logan from Secret Wars world, which, although was part of the Old Man Logan universe, was its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they never actually explained if it was... if he was, an adamantium. So I'm guessing he doesn't have adamantium bones. I mean, I'm guessing that's what that means, is that he doesn't have adamantium bones in this, because, that's the only logical explanation. It's like, he's that Bone Claw. He's Bone Claw Logan, I have no idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. You're right. And you know what? That would be freaking bugging me the whole time.
Yeah, see, maybe it's a good thing you didn't get a bunch of these books.
For nothing, if his bones aren't made of metal, they shouldn't say Snick.
Yeah, because the claws are adamantium, so I don't know.
Well, do they say they're adamantium, or do they look it?
They look it, and I mean, he put him through the Hulk's fist, and he was cutting the hole, and
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, so then Amadeus calms down, and he's like, sorry, got carried away, maybe you need a doctor, and Old Man Logan's like, okay, that really doesn't sound like Banner. He's like, Banner? And Amadeus is like, Banner, no, man, you got the wrong guy. I'm Amadeus Cho, the new Hulk. And Old Man Logan's like, where's Banner? And Amadeus is like, you really think I'm going to tell you that now? But he's like, come on. He's like, I'll get you help, or, we'll team up. But then the cops show up, and Old Man Logan takes off. He's like, oh, the Hulk punched me all the way to Brooklyn. He's like, I know somewhere I have a friend here I can hide out with. But he's thinking, he's like, this doesn't make any sense. When was Banner not the Hulk? Everything's so messed up. But, so he breaks into an apartment. He says it's an old friend. He's about to, looks like he's about to pass out. And he says, then he sees a bow and arrow in a hand. And he says, Barton? Hawkeye? And Kate Bishop says, you're half right, old man. So, guess who's in next issue?
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing Kate Bishop.
Looks like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, considering that, of course, in the old Man Logan, he teams up with Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I'll give it a thumbs up. It was good, but despite the fact of the broken ribs.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe he meant, I don't know. I really don't. I really don't have any idea what he means by broken ribs. So,
yeah. So we're down to our 2 books together.
Okay. Yes. So let us. You want to do all different Avengers?
Sure. Let's do it. Number 5.
Number 5. So we open up with Vision being evil. He's working out his holographic recording program, and then they're having some fight with Masters of Evil. So that's Mr. Hyde. That's Grim Reaper, who wasn't he dead last week? Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. This is Kamala's fan fiction. So we see. I was going to say, wait a minute, and I forgot exactly what I was reading. Thor and Captain America they've vanquished this fight. They talk about the kiss, they kiss again, and then they go to Asgard, and then Juggernaut shows up, and then it's Bruno and Kamala. And Bruno is criticizing Kamala's fanfic. They go to Kamala and Miles get together to go get to Avengers headquarters. They're fighting the Mad Thinker. Kamala beats up a robot after Vision takes out its CPU. And then Vision is showing everybody this image of Kamala, fighting the robot and endangering civilians. Basically the whole thing, you kids are too green, kicks them out, and then Nova breaks through the wall when, again, we have doors, young man. Gets into the whole big thing and basically makes the point to everyone that you kids are not ready for Avengers things. But here's what I'm going to say, and this is what kind of bugs me on this. Everyone just, hey, the Vision wouldn't lie to us. The Vision has lied to you hundreds of times. He was built by Ultron. We know that he has had, on occasion, been programmed for evil. Why are we just accepting everything at face value that he's saying?
Yeah, no, he's like the artificial man. That's what I was going to say. It could be Ultron. It could be anyone in there.
Exactly. And it was not that long ago that was exactly the case when we had the Age of Ultron story we all might remember. So it's it was a little weird to me that everyone was like, oh, yeah, whatever. No, Vision wouldn't lie to us. And, so that was a little weird. Then they're fighting Equinox. I see. Last time I saw Equinox, it was in Marvel team up Human Torch, Iceman versus Equinox with Spider-Man. And we found out that... I'm sorry, what?
And Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, yeah, yes. Well, that's what was going on here, is the Kang Dynasty is sending Equinoxes back from the future. And this was interesting.
But once again, what is this trend of villains in three-piece suits?
You know what? And this was actually one thing I was thinking, because, of course, Kang was Iron Lad and later got his mind put into the Vision, as you will recall. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing this is like 20-year-old or 24-year-old, because I don't know how old this, Griffin is supposed to be here. But he is Kang, but I'm wondering if it's that Kang from that timeline, you know? Mm-hmm. So he isn't really armored Kang. He's not future Kang the Conqueror yet. This is the young kid Kang, teen Kang coming through here and doing what he's doing. But
it's just between Doom. This month we got Doom, we got the Blob, and now Kang.
Oh yeah, well there we go. Well yeah. Well, you know what, man? It's the freaking it's almost the Roaring 20s. We gotta get everyone into pinstripes soon. You know, we use zoot suits. You know, it's a point in history where people are wearing suits more, I guess. I don't know. Only the superheroes are wearing costumes anymore. All those supervillains are just moving to suits. But you know, that's not new. Let's face it. You know, Mr. Negative always wore a suit. Kingpin always wore a suit. You know, Hammerhead always wore a suit. It's, you know, everyone else is saying, you know, just because the superheroes, you know, dress like carnival, like circus performers, don't mean we have to. We can wear a nice Armani. So long as it's green or purple, because, you know, we have to maintain the secondary color rule for villains. You know, that's the rule. Heroes always wear primary colors, villains wear secondary colors. Anyway, so Sam and Thor get sent to the future, but Thor is separated from her hammer. She's like, we have to get the hammer back. And he's like, well, no, we've got to fight the bad guys first. And she's like, no, if I'm separated from the hammer, I change back into this. And we see Jane Foster all sick and dying. And the next issue, Evil Vision, cut with smoke all around. I really felt that Tony should have given Kamala the benefit of a doubt here. And so it kind of did a weird generational thing. Makes me wonder if maybe the older characters might not be sticking around in all different Avengers for too long. That it's going to be shifted more to focus on the teen heroes, the Miles and Kamala and Sam. I'm not sure. I don't know what they'll do next, but yeah, it was. You know, like I said, I liked it. It was a great book. It was fun. It was enjoyable. But yeah, I don't know why everyone is being so trusting of the Vision, given that the Vision has had these problems in the past. It's sort of like, you know, it's sort of like giving Hank Pym the benefit of the doubt. You know, if Hank Pym showed up and said, "Hey, you know, I suspect something evil is going on," and like, "Okay, Hank, it's not that we don't believe you, but you're a little bit crazy. So let's just make sure let's just make sure all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed." And just kicking Kamala out of the Avengers so summarily, it seemed pretty weird, especially since there was no, like, complaints about. I mean, it all seemed kind of weird, but that was my take on it. Okay, last book of the week. Ready, Phil?
Oh yeah.
Ultimates number 4. This was my pick of the week. I really liked it for numerous reasons. One, we get this backstory about, and I don't know how much of this was in the original Blue Marvel and how much of it wasn't. But we see Adam Brashear and Connor Sims. You know, in Korea, you know, they have this little Latin phrase, "Nemo residio." No, we leave no man behind. Which, okay. Sure, I mean, it works. I mean, I guess that's Latin. Sure, it's not one of the official mottos of any of the armed forces, but I guess for their group, they decided that they would have their own Latin motto, and apparently their platoon or their battalion or whatever, they decided to have a Latin motto, and of course someone there knew enough Latin to decide that their motto would be "No Man Left Behind." And we see Connor and Brashear. They're talking about the neutral zone experiments. This is obviously where they each get their own powers. Connor becomes Anti-Man, and it's actually quite interesting. So they put on their neutral zone armor Mark 13, which gives them protection for 9 minutes 15 seconds. And then we flash back to the Armor Model 1, which has 1 minute 50 seconds at best. And he's saving Connor Sims the first time after he falls into the alternate universe. And then Blue Marvel realizes he has to kill Connor because he's too dangerous. And then his son, Kevin, shows up, who is the higher being here. And he says, Dad, what are you doing, Dad? And he says, we have to kill him. And he says, he has killed, he murdered your mother. He killed her. Kevin, he killed dozens, hundreds. Says, and how many lives did Galactus destroy, Dad? And then they flash back, and we see that, he was, he gave him the helmet, trying to help him control his visions, and, they basically decide they're going to take him with him. He says, I can't be, he says, understand that I accept that I can't forgive you, Connor. God help me, I can't, but I won't leave you behind. And again, I like this idea of moving beyond punching things and thinking to something deeper. But then, speaking of punching things, a voice speaks to Galactus. Says, "Hear me. The humans who helped bring on your change from devourer to life-bringer are on a course outside the universe. Should they survive, they will find themselves in a place beyond even my influence. They will see what none have ever seen, not even you. They will see the truth. I would spare them that knowledge. Do you understand? Yes. Find them, Lifebringer, and when you do what you must." And we see that Eternity is plotting against our heroes. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, absolutely my pick of the week. I really enjoyed this book. I loved the way that they deal with Brashear and Connor, and Connor and really touching on what I think is one of the great tropes of comic books, is that how often are these guys not in their right minds when they're doing these horrible, evil things, but they're totally not there. It's like, I did what? What did I do? What are you saying? Wait, what happened? And you think about it in terms of characters like Bucky, or, it's always been one of these things that I've always found interesting, that no one's ever, hit the Joker on the head and have him be sane again and deal with that freaking conundrum of, if the guy says, wait, what are you talking about? No, I'm Joe from accounting. Yeah, no, there was a whole thing. I found some chemicals. What are you talking about? It's I would love to see somebody do a story with the Joker that's been made sane. That would be such a good story someday. Anyway, but no, that was definitely my pick of the week. I really loved that book. What did you think, Phil?
Yeah, it was great. This was close to being my pick of the week.
Mm-hmm. Ultimates is really one of the best books I think Marvel's putting out right now.
Oh yeah.
Right now I'm going to say the Ultimates probably the closest thing I'm going to have right now to a Fantastic Four surrogate is the Ultimates. I'm really loving it. It's not getting dropped anytime soon.
All right. I was going to say, is that it?
That's it. That's all I read, man.
That's all.
Money on comic books, and that's not even the ones that I bought for the kids. So it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have time to read anymore, but
yeah.
All right, anyone, tell us your thoughts. Did we miss any? I don't see how. But you can email us marvelroundup@gmail.com. On Facebook, we're All New Marvel Roundup. And on Twitter, we are at Marvel_Roundup. And besides comics, we're going to be doing a Deadpool special soon. Probably by the time you hear this, we've already done it. But tell us what you think of the Deadpool movie, too. Send it. We'll read those here, Superconnectivity, wherever. But we'll read them. But, and if you want to get a hold of me and discuss anything Marvel or DC, you can email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm at nightwingpdp. And if you want to find all my stuff, my podcasts, my blogs, just one-stop shopping, you can check out my new website, philparich.wordpress.com. And it's all me, and you'll hear me with such talents as Charlie Esser, Lilith Hellfire, and many more. Charlie?
Okay, well, if you would like to tweet at me at some point in your life, or if you'd just like to follow along while I watch television, such as Agent Carter or The Flash, although maybe not so much with The Flash anymore, but Supergirl, we're live. I live tweeted Supergirl this week. I live tweeted Legends of DC, or as I like to call it, the Leonard Snart Show. Special guest star Adam, because honestly, Snart and Adam is that show. You do anytime anyone who is not Leonard Snart or Ray Palmer on that thing, it's not really a good show. But you put those two on it, then that's a good show. Everybody else, really not that interesting, but I really like watching Leonard Snart on that show. He's great. He really makes the show. I tweet that, Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., possibly the 1980s Incredible Hulk when that comes to MeTV this month, and any number of other things. But tweet along with me at Charlie Esser, CharlieEsser. Look for 2 E's in the middle for quality. And of course, write to me with all your thoughts at Superconnectivity at Gmail. I'm sorry, superconnectivityblog at gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog at gmail.com. And love to hear from you all. You're great.
All right. Well, you heard the man. Come back next week. I know this week and last week we threw a lot at you. Next week is a lot smaller. I know. I think I only got 5 books or so.
Yeah. Although maybe we'll just wind up buying extra books because, we don't have that many books this week. Time to grab those books we haven't been reading.
Yeah, give it a try. But like I said, come back next week. We'll see what we get into next week because this week it's all Deadpool all the time. Good night.
Good night.